Okay, I'm going to show you my primary working block. This is a standards angle block, 6x6, and it's not just any angle block. It's inserted. So these are all quarter 20 stainless steel inserts. They're 400 series stainless, so they are magnetic. Here's another thing about it. It's inserted here. These are below the surface of the granite. Also 400 series stainless, also magnetic, but they won't rust. And the rest of it is right there at the bottom. Another stainless steel insert right here. Again, below the surface of the granite, so it is magnetic and it'll stick to your magnet plate. Over on the surface grinder, but again, it won't rust from coolant and stuff like that. This thing gets washed a lot, and it goes back and forth between the surface plate and the surface grinder, which are the two opposite ends of the spectrum. You know, one's the dirtiest possible environment, the other one's not. So you start with your block, and right now we've got, there's our green side, the green ink down there, that's already been ground. But what we're going to do here is we're going to wipe down this surface here, make sure we're clean here, and we're going to bring it over to this block. I don't know if you can hear that. It's contacting at the top before it contacts at the bottom, so that tells you right there it's at a square. If we were to wipe this side down and flip it, there it is again. But we've got the green side up. I just wanted to demonstrate how far out of square this block is. Green side's up, this has already been ground. Let's flip it over and put it back up against the block and get to the side we want to work on. All right, now we got the square side down. Clean here, and our block's clean. And we're coming up against our block, and here, no movement. Not at the bottom, not at the top. All right, so we've got the luxury of one of our screw holes, which is good. So we can get one of these guys in. But you know what else we need to do? We need to square it up the other way. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. We're going to bring in a second block. This is another, it's another standard there. And these have both been calibrated recently. And you can come in here and square this up in the second direction. That way, when we tighten here, it's going to pull itself into the working block, but we can clamp here temporarily just to square it up on the standard. So let's do that. So we can bring this guy in right here. Jorgensen clamps are handy for holding stuff in alignment while you tighten them and things like that. All right, so your square this direction with this block, and we're clamped in with the jorgy there. And when we tighten here, when we tighten our screw here, it's going to pull us in here. After we get this screw in, we're going to be doing more than that. We are going to be putting some other Jorgensen clamps on it, but we're just going to get one screw in there now, just to pin it down. And now we can get rid of this and make this block go away. And you know what you can do? Just hang that there for a second. And what you can do now is double check it. You know, make sure nothing slipped or moved when you tighten this one screw down. We're going to be coming in here with two Jorgensen and getting a hold of it here too to the block and pinning it in here when we make our grind. But you know, if we got it the slightest bit cocked one way or the other, I'm more worried about this direction than I am this direction. I know I'm seated into the granite block, so I'm pretty good. But I'm worried that it might have slipped here or here. So we're going to take the Square Master real quick and just run up the side and make sure it didn't slip on its way in. And you could do this with a cylinder square. You could do this with a little angle square and a flashlight. You could do it with a bunch of different things if you don't have two angle blocks at your disposal. but they have to be known square. Moving this thing around on the plate's a little more, there we go. It's a little more robust. All right, we got a good 0. Let's come up with it. It's pretty good. It's within a couple of tenths from top to bottom. It actually needs to rotate this direction to be perfectly square. So I'll tap it around a little bit and then we'll go grind it and see what we ended up with. All right. Okay, so here's the setup on the machine. We cleaned the mag, stoned it, cleaned the bottom of our working block, and cleaned the bottom of our workpiece. And all that's left to do is get a clamp on there. So let me grab I forgot to bring a Jorgie. Let me go grab that. Okay, we're back and we got a couple of Jorgensen clamps ready. And we're just gonna, one on each side here. This is a good size. I guess those are about 18 inches. It's a good size for doing this kind of work. They don't really get in the way and don't stick out too far. Some of the wood guys like those big old long things if they're doing doors or windows or louvers or cabinets, you know, like kitchen cabinets and stuff. All right, so we got a couple Jorgies on there. We got our 1 pin bolt in. We're ready to grind. You don't want to cause any pressure or anything on it. You want it to just grind very freely. You don't want to crash it hard or plow into it, you know, because it's a very fragile setup. But grinding doesn't create a lot of pressure unless you do something wrong. So let's get this thing grinding. Just touching off in the high corner. Okay, that's it. We can put our clamps to the side. And turn the mag off. I'll show you the grind. Not that it matters, but I'll show you the grind. The granite really sticks down to the plate. What's nice about the granite, it's a lap surface, so it doesn't scratch your plate at all. You can slide it around and it's pretty good. But anyways, there's your grind. There's a lot of crap in it and it's still wet from the coolant. Another nice thing about the granite blocks, I can take this thing right over to the sink and wash it as many times as I want. And you know what? It doesn't rust. So that's pretty awesome. Anyway, let's get this all taken apart and we'll go check our progress. Okay, welcome back to the surface plate. And we're green side up. So the side we just ground is facing down. And we'll clean. And come in one last time for a quick check. And find my hammer. You guys have any luck with that gauge? You're kind of seeing it. All right, we're on 0 there. Let's make our sweep. We got a clean sweep to go here. Not going to go over any holes or anything. Okay, we're within a tenth of square there. Over 6 inches. I'm not going to complain about a tenth at all. Okay, on 0. Same. Let's check it this way. This is actually a little harder this way because you got such a narrow base compared to the vertical. This is very sensitive to little bits of dirt and lint and stuff. Now we're pretty good. More than a tenth. over that. I mean, your vertical to horizontal ratio is very small on the horizontal and very large on the vertical. So this setup would be very, you know, any little bits of stuff in there would tip this so easily and give you bad readings. One last thing we'll do is we'll check for parallelism, make sure we didn't lose our parallelism, where we're within a tolerance. All right. Then a tenth there, and then a tenth there, then a tenth there. So we're pretty good, pretty happy with that. But now, you know, we had one block that was bad and one block that was good, but now we've ground away at this thing so much. You see we're 0 there, and I know we just took a gob out of this thing. Let's see what we got here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, we got about 7 thousandths to come out of this block. And I've already checked this block. This block is very square in all directions. So it was just one out of the set that rubbed me the wrong way. So all we got left to do is match them, and we're just gonna take the two of them and pack them together, put them on the surface grinder, and get one final grind on a clean. Done. All right, guys. Some of you are probably going to ask me why I did my first side on the working block, and then I just didn't get the working block out of the picture and just put it right down on the surface and make my second grind. I did know I wanted to do two separately so that I could compare them, find my best one, because I still knew I was going to have to pack these two together and make another grind anyways. And I wanted to compare the two, find the best of my two grinds, and use that down against the plate. All right. Okay, so we finished up our 246s. All I did was pack them together and put some studs through there just to pull them together. But before I tighten the studs, I brought them over to the edge of the table. I've got a ledged surface plate, and I clamped them down individually. Make sure they're down tight to the table, then tighten my through bolts, and then I take them over to the surface grinder, dust off one side, clean, wash it, flip it, and do it again on the other side. And the last thing we have to do is check them for squareness one last time, make sure nothing slipped. I'm pretty sure nothing did. I had them bolted together pretty good. But the last pack was doing that. So let's take a quick look at them one last time. And we're going to come up on a 0. Make sure we got a clean line to follow, which I think we do. Okay, less than a tenth. Checking this other way. Never get any rest. Phone's always ringing. All right, on a 0. So it's within 2/10 over 6 inch. Pretty happy there. All right, that phone just wasn't going to leave me alone. Which one was I on? Don't even remember. Maybe we'll start over. All right, getting this out on a 0. Two-tenths over 6 inches. Let's check this side. Three-tenths over 6 inches. Pretty good. Bring this fella in. 1/10. You know, blind dog finds a bone some days. We got a bit of a fall, 3/10, but 3/10 over 6, I'll take it. So these things are ready to go into service. One last thing to do, quantify our measurement. And we started by calibrating the square master with the big square. So we're going to end with checking the square master, make sure all our measurements were valid. Ooh, good tone. All right. I don't know if you can see this or not. Probably not. But now what we're doing is just making sure that all our measurements were valid. Holy crap, that thing is square. I think it's just a beautiful piece. Needle doesn't bounce, it just glides. Finer than any piece of steel I've ever measured. Okay. So yeah, that's one of Barzi's crown jewels right there. Is a 18-inch granite square, and it stays in the box in the pattern. If you ever want to see a grown man cry, that'll be the day that thing tips over and breaks. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And these guys are ready to oil and put over. They're just going to get used on the mill. So they're ready to go into service, and we're going to use them over on the mill for setup. All right, thanks for watching.